In past videos regarding relationships where domestic violence takes place, one of the most prevalent comments we have received is, why did the victim stay? Why didn't they just move out, get their own place, move in with a friend who knew what was going on? How could they stay in a situation with a person who was attacking them and making them fear for their life? Usually, this question is sincere, as the majority of people asking have never been in an abusive relationship, and therefore don't know how much of the relationship was spent by the abuser slowly and methodically breaking down their partner. How that person spent weeks, months, and sometimes even years separating that person from any outside source. How they made them feel worthless, unlovable, and discarded, and how they made their victim embarrassed to speak up about what was happening to them. The person asking the question thinks solely about this one instance of abuse, and how they would never stay with a person who did that to them, or at least they don't think that they would. A victim's reasons for staying with their abusers are extremely complex and, in most cases, are based on the reality that their abuser will follow through with the threats they have used to keep them trapped, such as the abuser will hurt or kill them, they will win custody of the children, they will harm or kill pets or others, they will ruin their victim financially. The list goes on and on. They also don't realize that, in a lot of instances, leaving one's abuser is the most dangerous thing that they can do. According to Wendy Mahoney, executive director for the Mississippi Coalition Against Domestic Violence, the statistics are that women in abusive relationships are about 500 many times more at risk when they leave. Domestic violence is all about power and control, and when a woman leaves, a man has lost his power and control. One study found in interviews with men who have killed their wives that either threats of separation by their partner or actual separations were most often the precipitating events that led to the murder, and that is true of the case we will be talking about today. Welcome back to another episode of Dreading. Today we are going to be covering the currently developing case of Danny Ray Beard and how he ended the life of his longtime girlfriend, Andrea Lee Washington. This case hasn't gone to trial as of yet, but once it does, I will be making a follow-up video. As always, if there is a video you would like to see, let us know by leaving your suggestion in the comments down below, or by emailing me at dreading.official@gmail.com. We're constantly going through and responding to emails, and would love to hear your suggestions. With all of that said, let us begin. Andrea Washington was a mother of 3 and had worked as a gas turbine technician for the Navy for over 20 years when she told one of her friends about how her longtime boyfriend, Danny Ray Beard, had assaulted her. Andrea confided in her friend, who at present has not been named, as she knew they were a mandatory reporter and the assault would be reported to the police. The Navy Chief Petty Officer described how Danny had come at her in a rage after she had asked him to help pay some bills of the house they had shared. He broke down multiple doors in the home, smashed her iPad, kicked her in the stomach, and put a gun to her head, screaming that he was going to kill her. Neighbors were questioned weeks later and stated that they often heard screaming and crying at the home, and were often woken up in the middle of the night to Danny screaming outside of Andrea's house, stating that he was going to kill her, but they never thought to call the police. In interviews they would give later on, they would clarify that they didn't know what was happening in the home, but figured it wasn't their place to step in. After the brutal assault, Andrea decided she had had enough. She filed for an emergency restraining order against Danny 2 days after the event, with the hopes that by getting the justice system involved, Danny would leave her alone. However, that was not the case, as 2 weeks later, Andrea would be found dead, murdered by the man who openly claimed that he was going to kill her. Marlon Jones was a friend to both Andrea and Danny Beard, and stated that he was a middleman in the relationship. Whenever the couple would fight and break up, Marlon was always in the middle, and Danny often asked him to talk to Andrea on his behalf, and vice versa. But after Andrea had filed the restraining order, he believed the relationship had finally run its course. He knew more than anyone how toxic the pair had become, and he felt that by Danny no longer being able to contact Andrea, it would make for a clean break between the two. However, on September 16th, 2018, Beard arrived at Jones's home and reported that he was worried about Andrea. He told Marlon that earlier in the day, he had received some worrisome text messages from the woman that he had been abusing. The messages, which he had showed to Marlon, stated that he was worried about her safety and that another person had followed her back to her house. Despite the restraining order, she was asking Danny to come over, just to make sure she was safe. This struck Marlon as a bit strange for a variety of reasons. Firstly, the very next day, the former couple was due in court over the restraining order. Not only that, but if Andrea was scared that she was being followed, or feared for her life in any way, there were plenty of other people in the area that she could contact. Andrea was incredibly well-liked and well-regarded in her community, and something inside Marlon made him question the authenticity of the text messages. But, wanting to make sure that his friend was okay, he decided that he would go over to her home with her ex. When they arrived at the home, they found the door unlocked. This was obviously worrisome, and Beard quickly went into the dark home, with Marlon following behind. The men called out to Washington, but got no response. It wasn't until Danny had gotten to the living room of the home when they found her body. According to Marlon, Danny immediately became hysterical at the sight of his ex-girlfriend's body. Andrea was dead on the floor, having been shot a multitude of times with a .25 caliber weapon, and she had been left naked and completely uncovered, which is a sign of disrespect by the killer, meant to degrade the victim in death. Marlon stated that Danny dramatically fell to the floor, screaming "oh no" repeatedly, and tried to wake Washington up, but she was already deceased. A 911 call had come in prior to their arrival at the home, claiming to have heard screaming in the home, along with gunshots, and when the two men found her body, it was reported that they too contacted the police. Both men were taken in for questioning, and gave roughly the same story. Danny showed the police the text messages that Andrea had supposedly sent to him prior to their arrival at the home, and clarified that while their relationship was abusive, Andrea never spoke to the cops or wanted to get a restraining order. That had all been done by her friends, wanting to protect her and butt in on their relationship. Danny went so far as to claim in his initial interview the same day that he and Andrea had never stopped seeing each other. He had moved out, and publicly, they had told all of their friends they were done, but he insisted that she had reached out numerous times, telling him that she still loved him and wanted to be with him, and he stated outright that he loved Andrea, despite physically assaulting her numerous times, and that he would have never killed her, as it wasn't in his character. I am currently trying to get access to this initial interview, which is said to have many inconsistencies throughout, but as of right now, it has not been made publicly available. But as the investigation continued, his story would be proven false. For nearly 3 months, the Jacksonville Homicide Division quietly investigated Andrea's murder, going over her cell phone records and her movements the day she was murdered, focusing particularly on the texts she had sent to her ex-boyfriend. It was in those texts that they found a smoking gun. Andrea had never texted Danny. She had already been murdered when those texts were sent. On September 16th, Danny had broken the restraining order Andrea had against him at 8:55 p.m., likely because they were due in court the following day. His phone had connected to her home's Wi-Fi, and texts he received at the time placed him at Andrea's. He had talked to other people in his immediate circle, and hoped that Andrea would drop the restraining order before they were set to go to court, as it would severely impact his life. But upon realizing that she likely wasn't going to do that, he went over to her home and tried to talk her out of it. But instead, he killed her. According to his phone records, he arrived at 8:55 p.m. and then left at 10:43 p.m. While inside of the home, he cleaned himself off, then texted himself from Andrea's phone, saying that she was scared and needed him to come over. He then called her phone while in the home, but purposely didn't answer. After leaving the home, he went to Marlon's house and told Marlon about the texts he had gotten from his ex-girlfriend. He showed that he had tried to call Andrea but hadn't gotten through, at which point Marlon attempted to call her as well. When she didn't pick up, they went over to the home to check on her, and the rest of the night played out as previously reported, with Danny purposely touching Andrea's body and contaminating the crime scene in order to excuse why his DNA would be present. The police were also assisted by Marlon, who, shortly after speaking to the police the day they found the body, realized that Danny had been lying to him. On December 7th, 2018, the Jacksonville Police Department issued an arrest warrant for Danny. He was immediately brought in, and the following is his interview from that day. It had been 3 months since Andrea's murder, and, in Danny's mind, he had covered his tracks extremely well. He had accounted for why his DNA had been found at the crime scene. He made it appear as if he hadn't been present, and the police hadn't found the gun that he used to kill her. Prior to the interview, Danny had been sitting in the interrogation room for nearly 20 minutes by himself. This was done deliberately to put Danny on edge and make him question what evidence they had against him. Officers who brought Danny in did so without telling him why he was being arrested, which makes his calm demeanor even more odd, as most people would question why they were being taken in by authorities and why they were being arrested, but Danny never did.
You alright, Dan? Alright, this is my partner, Detective Lee. Have you met him before? I don't think he was with me the last time.
What's going on, man? I'm alright.
You have to bear with me. It's been a long day, so I'm gonna drink coffee as we talk. They tell you why you got picked up today?
No.
You have no idea?
No.
Okay. You have a warrant. I got a warrant for you for murder, for Andre. So you're being arrested for murder today.
Okay. Y'all say so.
Imagine you're being accused of a heinous crime such as murder. Someone close to you who you loved died, and 3 months later, you're being brought in and told that you were the person who killed your loved one. You would be shocked, horrified, and most likely, incredibly pissed off. Being falsely accused of anything is anger-inducing, but something as horrendous as murder is even more so. The fact that Danny brushes off the accusation so calmly is telling, especially since he isn't just being accused of the crime, he's being arrested for it.
Okay. I'm sure you have a lot of questions for me. But again, this is kind of one of those things that we've been working on for a while, and you know that. Before we go any further, I'm going to read you your rights, okay? I know last time we talked, we went over your rights and everything, but I want to make sure that you understand them. Fair enough?
Danny just admitted to lying to the police about what he was doing prior to the murder and being at Andrea's home when she would have been killed. This is massive, as it affirms that the evidence they have against him is accurate, but also that he has admitted to lying to them about what he was doing the day Andrea was murdered. When he was originally interviewed, he stated outright he hadn't been at Andrea's house that day, and instead spent the day with his family. This alibi was seen as airtight, as he claimed various members of his family would vouch for him. But now, when told there is evidence he wasn't at home, he immediately states that he was lying in his initial statement, and that what the police are saying is in fact the truth. There would have been no reason for him to lie in his original statement, as he had already admitted to breaking the restraining order to go over originally. And if he had just gone over to get the charger key, like he is now claiming, his phone wouldn't have connected to the home Wi-Fi for 2 hours.
I know the last time we talked, I got a little bit of information about kind of, you know, your background and stuff like that, but I kind of want to go back there again, if you don't mind, just kind of see how you grew up and everything like that. Do you have an issue with that? Okay. Didn't you tell me you grew up in Alabama?
Yes.
You did? Is that where you were born at?
Yes.
Where were you born in Alabama?
Tuscaloosa.
Tuscaloosa? Okay. Where'd you go to school at in Alabama?
Pickens County High.
Say again?
Pickens County High School.
Okay. Any brothers or sisters or anything like that?
3 sisters.
3. I think you told me that last time, didn't you? And you've got no brothers.
No.
What about you and your dad? Are you and your dad close?
Not really.
Is he still alive?
Yes.
Or him and your mother still together?
No.
Okay. Is your mom and your dad close?
Somewhat.
I mean, do they stay?
No.
Okay. How was your dad with your upbringing? Was he involved or not involved? Or
Not involved.
not involved at all? Did you have anybody to kind of mentor you, or is it just
Myself.
that you just
Myself and streets.
it's just you in the streets? What about your sisters? Were they older or younger?
Older.
Did
I did have an uncle.
you did? Did he take part in your life?
Yeah.
And was he? I mean, was he a good?
Yeah.
I mean, he was a good role model. Okay. And did you finish high school, or
No.
how far did you go in school?
8th grade.
8th grade. Okay. What made you not go any further in high school?
Went to Job Corps.
What kind of work did you do in Job Corps? What were you trained? I know you go there for training. Is that right?
Welding.
What's that?
Welding.
Did you ever do anything with that?
No.
Okay. When you were growing up, did you get in trouble as a kid?
Not really.
Because I checked to see, as far as your arrests, and I think I saw you had some arrests in like Palm Beach or something like that.
Yeah.
What was that about?
over my family,
It was. Were you fighting with like a sister or mom or your dad or
over my sister.
what? Was it hands on or no hands or verbal? Or
Man, they let me out, so
Okay.
they know I was just there with them.
I got you. Did you ever get arrested in Alabama?
I can't even remember. It's been so
Can't.
long ago.
Okay. How did you get to Jacksonville? What made you come from Jacksonville or from Alabama to Jacksonville?
My mom,
She moved all you. And she's over on. Is she on Oak Leaf Road? Is that right?
yes.
Okay. Who's she living over there with?
My 3 sisters. Well, my other 2 sisters.
Are they involved in your life? And
Yeah,
they are. Were they close to Andrea?
yeah.
They weren't. What do they think about all this?
My mom know I ain't do this.
Your mom, she don't think you did it?
My mom know I did.
Okay. How do you feel about what happened to Andrea?
I feel sick about it. That's what I'm saying. I don't see why y'all messing with me.
You're looking down when you say that. And you can't even look me in the eye when you say that.
I'm serious because I'm tired of y'all messing with me.
How many-
Y'all looking for the wrong person. Y'all looking at the wrong person.
How many times have I messed with you?
All this time y'all come to my house, get my cars.
Right.
I give you everything. That's what.
Wouldn't you want us to do that?
Yes, but I want y'all to find who did this too.
Right. I did find out who did it.
Who?
I mean, you realize I have a warrant in my hand right here, right?
The warrant don't
Hear me
mean
out.
anything.
You got to hear me out. You realize that this warrant is an arrest warrant for you, right?
Yeah.
And you realize that I had to have a state attorney, a prosecutor, review this, and I had to have evidence to get this. And then after I have a state attorney review this, you know this goes in front of a judge.
Okay.
Do you know that?
Yes.
Okay. And
I got 3 uncles in the police. I know what all y'all doing.
where are they? Where are they police at?
Alabama.
Are they still police?
Yes.
Okay. Well, I can tell you, Danny, that you wouldn't be sitting here if you didn't kill Andrea. And this is one of those times in your life where you can make a decision to do the right thing or to keep doing what you're doing.
I didn't do this.
You did do this, Danny,
No, I didn't.
and I can prove you did it.
Okay, well, we can prove it in court.
I'm going to. But I'm sitting here having a conversation with you. I'm hoping that you'll at least be a man and at least tell me, you know what, Detective Gibson? I screwed up.
I'm not finna say that because I know I did.
Okay.
I know I did. So I'm not finna sit there and tell you that to you.
Okay. I'm telling you that I have evidence
Okay,
that says
so
otherwise.
Take me to jail. Let's go to court.
So you don't want to even talk about it.
No,
What's that?
no.
Okay. All right. You don't want to sit here and talk to me and try to
For
figure.
what?
Well, I want to make sure that I'm clear that you just said you don't want to talk and you want to go to jail. So I want to make sure that I understand that you don't want to talk anymore. That you're
I
done.
don't need to talk about this because I know I didn't do it.
Okay. So you're telling me that you don't want to talk to me.
I'm talking to you now.
You don't want to talk to me about this case.
Well, let's talk.
What's that?
Let's talk.
You just told me that you didn't want to
You
talk.
want to talk or not?
No, I do, but I want to make sure.
Okay, I'm sitting here, so let's talk.
I want to make sure I understand that fact that you told me at first that you don't want to talk and you don't want to go to jail, but now you're telling me that you're willing to talk to me.
Okay, so let's talk. Whatever it's going to go in court anyway. So
All right. Tell me why you think that you're sitting in here.
I really don't know. You saying I did it,
Right.
but I know I did it.
First time we talked, you told me that you were over at your house when you got some text messages from Andrea
Yes,
saying that she needed help and that you went over there after you went and picked up Jones, that you and Jones went over there together
yes,
and that you found her.
yes.
And I'm telling you right now that I can prove that's not true. I have evidence to prove that you were at that house before that.
Yes, yes. I was at the house before that. Yes,
Okay.
I went and picked up her charger key.
Okay.
She gave me the charger key.
What time did you pick up the charger key?
It was about 9 something.
What time did you get there?
I can't remember the exact time.
Do you know what time you left?
I can't remember. It went shortly after she gave me the key.
So you're telling me you got there at 9 something.
It's between 9:30 and 10 or something like that.
Did you go in the house?
Hmm?
Did you go in the house?
Yes, she opened the door and let me in.
Despite Danny amending his story to fit what he believes the police know, he has once again locked himself into a story that cannot be true. He is now claiming he was over at the house for a couple of minutes between 9:30 and 10, and that he left immediately. He likely believes that either he or his car was seen by a neighbor, and is amending the story to fit that idea. Because the interviewer only told Danny that they know he was at the house before he said he was, and didn't tell him how they could place him at the scene, they now have him admitting to lying, changing his story, and placing himself at the scene of the crime. Had the interrogator told Danny that they could accurately place him at the home between 8 and 10, he would have changed his story to fit that.
And were you there for 5 minutes, 10 minutes, 30 minutes, 45 minutes?
It's about 15, 20 minutes.
Did you guys argue?
No.
There was no arguing between you two.
No. She gave me the key.
And then you left.
Well, she know how my car is. She know my car. I had to put it in the shop and get the oil change. My tire was bad, so she gave me the charger key. I still got the charger key.
When you left, did you go straight home?
Yeah, I was straight home.
And how long were you at home before you started getting messages from her?
She started mentioning me about 11 something. 11 something.
She started. How long had you been home for?
Yeah, I went home.
Been home for an hour, 5 minutes, 10 minutes?
Like 30, 35, 45 minutes.
So if you started getting messages from her about 11, you're saying you were at the house for about 30 to 45 minutes.
Yes.
At her house, or at your house,
In my house.
before you got that. So you're telling me that you were probably at your house by at least 10:15.
Yeah, like
Okay.
that.
Right. I know that's not true. I know what time you got to her house, Danny, and it wasn't after 9.
Okay, I don't know the exact time.
Okay. You're not even.
You're asking me.
What you're telling me is not true. You didn't just go over there for.
I went over there and get the charger key. The charger key is still in my car now.
Okay. I'm not saying you didn't get the charger key, but I'm telling you that you weren't over there for any 20 minutes. You were over there for some time. And you were the only one over there. Because nobody else came in that house. And I know this for a fact. I'm not going to lay out my whole case. But you know how I know.
I already know who was all over her house.
Okay.
So she told me. Her friend D.
Yeah, her friend D left probably about 7 o'clock that night. Probably about 7:15. Somewhere in that time frame, she was gone. So, I'm giving you a chance. This is your chance, Danny. If you want to look like a monster and a cold-blooded killer, then that's what you're going to look like. But if you came over there and things just went wrong, and it was an accident, or you lost your temper, or it was a mistake, then now's the time for you to tell me. But if you want to stick to the fact that we're crazy and all this evidence I have is bullshit, you're going to look terrible. Okay. People understand when people screw up and make a mistake.
I didn't make no mistake because I know I didn't do this. I put my right hand to God. I didn't do this.
Okay. Why did you tell me you didn't own a gun?
I didn't. She did.
No, you told me that you didn't own a gun.
I never owned a gun.
That's not true.
Yes, it is. She had a little. I mean, when I first got to Florida, I had a 25. She had a 22, and she kept it up in a box in her closet.
When I interviewed you, I specifically asked you if she owned a gun, and you specifically told me that she did not own a gun.
But
And you
told
gotta
me-
let me finish. You interrupted me.
Okay,
I'll let
go
you
ahead.
talk. You specifically told me that she did not own a gun, and you told me that she wouldn't own a gun. I mean, that was your word. She was like, she didn't.
She's in the Navy.
I'm telling you what you told me. This is what you told me. Okay, and then I have other people who have given me testimony saying they saw that gun in your
I'm
house.
not worried about them.
Okay, well, you
I'm
should
not
be
about
worried,
other- I'm
Danny.
not worried about other people.
You should be worried. Because I'm telling you right now, you're going to look like you went over there with the sole purpose to kill her. And now I know things were rough with you guys, and I know they were up and down. And I know that isn't totally your fault. I know that she was still talking to you, and I think you were probably thinking she was leading you on. But I'm telling you right now, if you stick to this, you're going to look like a cold-blooded murderer. And that's what you're going to look like. All this evidence right here is you. If you flip about right in here, these are all discs. Surveillance discs, stuff I pulled off your car disk, things that I pulled off of your phone, things I pulled off of your Facebook. I've been pretty busy the last couple months. Okay, and I'm not going to step to you if I don't know what I'm doing.
Okay.
I mean, being a man is owning up to what you did.
I am a man. And I know I ain't do this.
I know you did it. For a fact, you did it.
Okay.
You killed that woman.
No.
Yeah, you did.
Well, I did.
And we can prove it, Danny.
You can say what you want to say. I know I did. I don't care what evidence you
What about
got.
the evidence? What about when the evidence says you
I don't care
did?
what evidence you got. You can't put me to killing her.
Are you sure?
Yes.
Are you sure about that?
Yes.
Okay. So when 5 minutes ago, when you lied to me about what time you were over there and what time you left, that's the second time you lied
They
about it.
don't.
That says a lot.
They don't. No, it don't. It don't give you the alibi that I did this.
Instead of saying that he didn't lie about his alibi, and that he didn't just lie about when he was over at Andrea's house, Danny said that him lying doesn't mean he did this. Once again, Danny is confirming, albeit in a roundabout way, that he still is lying. If someone confronted you in this manner and accused you point blank of lying about something you just said, chances are you would say, I didn't lie, and meet the confrontation with some hostility. But Danny agrees with it, only to say that lying doesn't mean he did this.
It does when you've already told me 2 lies about being over there. Why are you lying about being over there?
I told you. I went over there to get the charger key.
Okay. Where did you park when you went over there to get the charger key?
I parked because I didn't supposed to. She told me to park at the at the mailbox.
You parked at the mailbox.
Yes.
Okay,
Because
and
she didn't want me to park in front of the house.
And how did you know that?
She told me.
When did she tell you that?
She told me on Messenger.
On
She
Messenger.
called me.
She told you to park in the mailbox?
Yes.
That's not true. Because I looked on there and that message isn't there. But I do know you called her. You
Okay.
called her at 8:55
Yes.
when you were
I
there.
said on Messenger. I didn't say on
Right.
Messenger text. On Messenger. She told
But
me to
you
park
called
at the
her.
mailbox.
When you got there.
Okay, so you didn't see no calls from her on there.
I did.
To me.
Yeah, I saw.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm not saying that she wasn't calling you. Don't think I'm not. Don't think that I think that you were the only one contacting her. I know. I've seen all the messages.
Okay.
I see all the messages on hers. Even though you erased all yours up until that day, I have all of hers between you guys. So I know she was contacting you. So don't think I'm not seeing the whole big picture. I'm seeing the big picture.
Danny had deliberately deleted multiple messages off his phone that showed that he had threatened to kill her multiple times, and, according to his friends, believed that by him deleting the messages on his end, they would delete on hers as well. He seems genuinely shocked that that is not the case.
Okay.
But, when you tell me, oh, I'm over there after 9, that's just not true.
I really don't know the time thing.
And you weren't over there for any 15 minutes, I'll tell you that. I know that for a fact.
Okay. I'm not finna admit to something I didn't do.
Okay. Is there any questions you have of me?
Huh?
Okay. You're going to be booked in tonight on this warrant, okay?
Okay.
I'm not going to sit in here with you all night. If you, like I said, I've already said this. If you're going to look like a monster, that's on you. At least when I get done with this and I put my file together, I'll be able to walk over to the state attorney's office and I'll say, hey, I talked to Danny Beard not once and not twice. Here you go. Here's all the evidence. He said he don't know nothing about nothing.
I ain't saying I ain't know nothing about nothing.
Okay, then what do you know? If you know nothing about, if you know something, tell me what you know.
I told you, I'm telling you now, I did not do this.
Okay. Then who did it?
How do I know? That's y'all job to find out.
Well, I found out.
We did.
Okay, well, we'll see in court.
Okay.
So at the end of the day, the evidence is the evidence. This is one of those cases where it really don't matter what you say, because this is really your opportunity to tell us what happened and why. All right, because we already got you dead to rights, and it's just a matter of how you're going to look in front of that jury.
Okay, I go in front of the jury. My lawyer will be there. We can handle it in court.
Okay.
That's all we waiting on for this to happen. Y'all charge me with something.
You say what?
So you're
That's
waiting
all
for
we
this?
waiting on.
You've been waiting for this.
Yep. That's why I haven't got a lawyer yet until y'all charge me with something. Told you my uncle's police officer. I know everything that go on.
Your uncle a homicide detective?
Yep.
Yes.
One of them is.
He still is right now.
Yes.
Okay. I think he's going to be pretty disappointed in you when he sees everything that we have.
Well,
You don't think he will?
my uncle knows. You know I ain't do this.
He knows you wouldn't do it.
My whole family know I wouldn't do something like this.
Why do they think that you wouldn't do something like this?
Because they know me. My exes know me.
Now's a great time to mention that Andrea isn't only the ex of Danny's to be assaulted by him. He routinely assaulted another one of his exes, and at one point broke her thumb.
You know what's weird about that? You just said that. Guess where I was probably? Well, I'm not going to tell you where I was, but I'll tell you this. I traveled out of state, and I interviewed one of your witnesses. She's scared to death of you. Did you know that? And she described how you beat her up and how you smashed her phone.
I'm not hurt because I don't know nobody like that.
Oh, well, she knows you.
And she lived with you. So when you say that, that's just another untruth that you're telling me in this
What you
room.
talking about? I know you talking about Camille.
Well, how do you know who I'm talking about?
Oh, I stayed with her.
Okay. She's lying about that too, or
Lord.
about you putting your hands on her?
You see, they dropped the case in court, right?
They didn't drop the
Yes,
case.
they did.
No, they
They
didn't.
dropped the case. You see,
Tell
I
me.
didn't get arrested for it. They dropped the case.
Danny went from saying he never put his hands on any of his exes and that all of his exes would state that he's a good guy to directly stating that he had a prior case of domestic violence against him by an ex, but that it shouldn't count because they dropped it after he intimidated them into dropping it. All that this proves is that he has a habit of routinely assaulting the women in his life.
I'm telling you, the case isn't dropped.
Yes, it is.
It's still
But
a case.
I went to court with her.
All right. Well, I'm
And
telling you.
when I went to court with her, she told the judge, I want it dropped.
But she still got an injunction against you because you were scared of you.
What?
She got an injunction against you.
No, she don't.
Yes, she does.
If she go to court and tell the judge she want it dropped, ain't no injunction.
I'm telling you, she's got an injunction against you. I read it.
I know what I'm talking about. 'Cause I was in court the day she went.
Hey, he's a smart dude, man.
If I did hit her like she said she did, yes, I did break her phone, but I did not hit her.
Why would you break her phone?
Say again?
Why would you break her
Well, she
phone?
broke mine.
But so she broke your phone and then you turned around and broke hers.
Yeah,
Was there a reason why she broke your phone?
because I had a message in my phone.
She told me the opposite. She said you found some messages and went crazy and
Yeah,
busted up her
I
phone.
did find message because she had naked pictures on her phone telling somebody else.
Isn't that the same thing that pissed you off about Andrea as well? That's not-
Me and Andrea had problems when our problems didn't lead to this. I would never do this. I know, my family knows, God knows I would never do this.
Well, she says that you put your hands on her
Who?
before you killed her, Andrea.
I put my hands on her.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
That ain't what she told my mama.
Well, I'm telling you, what she's told the police, what she told the Navy, and what she told all her friends on her Facebook
One
Messenger.
thing I'm not worried about is the Navy. Navy.
Well, I know
take
you
me.
ain't worried. You even put messages on there that they can't touch you. You ain't in the Navy.
No, they can't.
And you're right. I'm just saying that that's the extent that she went to. She let everybody know what you did to her.
Mhm.
And she took pictures and let everyone know what you did to her doors. And she was pissed. And she was asking you to pay her doors back. And you were telling her you were going to pay for those doors
Yeah, and I paid for
because you kicked them in.
them. Yeah.
Why would
And
you?
And I paid for them.
So my point to you is to sit there and tell me that you've never been violent with anyone and all your family knows that.
That's not being violent. If
Kicking-
I didn't kick her, I kicked the doors. That's totally different.
Why did you kick her doors?
She pissed me off. Instead of taking it out on her, I kicked the door.
What did she do though is what I'm asking you to piss you off.
They took my truck.
Isn't that her truck?
No, both our truck.
Who makes the payments on?
I was.
Okay. She was telling everyone she was making the payments on.
I know she tell everybody everything.
Why did you smash her iPad?
I smashed her who?
Her iPad.
iPad.
Yeah, she had an iPad that was all smashed that she said you smashed.
That's my
Her
iPad.
tablet.
That's my iPad.
She said it was hers.
It's purple iPad. If it's purple iPad got purple cover, it was mine.
You just smashed your own iPad?
Yes.
Any reason?
Yes, because I had pictures in there of the women. And I smashed it.
Okay. Were you going through her phone? Did that piss her off that morning? Not the morning she was killed, but the morning that you guys got into a fight. Were you going through her phone? Is that what started that argument?
Like, me and Andre had understanding. Like, we went through our differences.
Danny.
Andre knew, she knew what I was doing. She knew I talked to other women. She's in the Navy. She gone all the time, so she know. That's common sense.
Danny, I got video of you guys tussling over the phone. You're sitting at the dang bar or whatever. I can't remember if it was the bar or the table, and you're sitting in a chair, and she's sitting on the couch, and she gets up, and you're going through that phone, and she comes over there, and you guys start tussling over that phone. So, I'm telling you right now, I've done my...
Yeah, it's a phone. Who won't?
Why are y'all tussling over a phone?
That's all. That's relationship. People go through shit like that.
I'm not saying people don't go through a rough time,
It's a
but
phone.
when you sit there and tell me that you guys trusted each other,
I never said we trusted each other.
and she knew what you did,
It
that's...
never came out of my mouth and said
Okay.
we
What did
trusted
you
each
say?
other.
What did you say?
I said all relationships have problems.
Okay, I had problems, but what did you say after that?
I never said.
Didn't you say you had an understanding?
Yeah, we had understanding. That's not trust. I said understand. That's totally different. She know what I did.
So,
She know what I was doing.
did you know what she was doing?
Hmm?
Did you know what she was
I
doing?
know when you were talking to someone else.
Did that bother you?
No,
It didn't bother you?
no, because I knew what I was doing.
Okay.
Why would something bother me? And
I'm
I'm
telling
doing-
you
I'm
that I
doing
have
wrong.
Facebook messages that are totally different than what you're telling me. And you reacting and acting totally different than what you're telling me.
I knew what Andre was doing.
Okay. So why were y'all fighting over a phone?
Fighting over her phone?
Yeah.
Why would I fight over her phone?
I don't know. I don't know if she didn't want you going through it and you were going through it because you wanted to see who she was talking to, but
I already knew who she was talking to.
who was she talking to?
You know, I had friends in the Navy too.
So who was she talking to?
Some guy named Terrence. I already knew.
Did you ever talk to Terrence?
Nope.
Had you ever met Terrence?
Nope. Told you I had friends in the Navy. I know.
When you say she was talking to him, do you think they were involved or just friends?
I don't know. I was doing my own thing. She did hers.
I don't understand why you, when I ask you a question like that, that's a basic question. For you to sit there and tell me that it doesn't bother you, it's odd because I saw your messages between you two.
Yeah.
And I know it bothers
It's a
you.
message.
Okay.
It's a message.
Right?
That's what men do. We play like we mad about it, but we're not because we know what we doing.
So to clarify, the absolutely disturbing thing that Danny is stating, because it makes no sense. Yes, he sent angry, threatening messages to Andrea because she was talking to other people, but he wasn't actually angry because he didn't care, despite the fact that he said he did. Also, the video evidence of him fighting with her over her phone was all playful, because he didn't actually care what was on her phone and it was just for fun. Also, he wasn't abusive to Andrea because he was attempting to sleep with other women when she was away with the Navy, and all the evidence that he was, like the broken doors, smashed electronics and whatnot, was actually proof he wasn't abusive because he broke those things, he didn't kill her.
Okay.
It's common sense. We that's what men do.
That morning, did you threaten her with a gun?
No.
Why would she report to the police that you...
The police report that all this was because she went through with all this court stuff, me going to court and stuff like that. That's why they did not press charges on me then. Because for one, when they went to the house, they said the only reason we didn't put a warrant out for your arrest because Miss Washington didn't open her mouth. It was all her friends.
This part is genuinely disturbing. Andrea wanted to get help. She wanted to report what Danny had done to her to the police, but she was scared to do it herself, so she spoke to her friend, who was a mandatory reporter. The cops verified her story with her and found a significant amount of evidence to prove what she said was accurate, including messages between Danny and her where he admitted to putting a gun to her head and saying he was going to kill her. However, what happened after this is confusing. It seems that because the police didn't know if Andrea really wanted to come forward herself, and because the district attorney wasn't confident in her involvement, they simply took no action. They allowed a man who they knew for a fact pulled a gun on his girlfriend to walk away a free man, and that man went on to kill her mere weeks later, all because it was her friend that made the report for her, and Danny is proud of that fact.
Andrea know how much I love her. Andrea know that I wouldn't do nothing to harm her. She know this. That's why they did not press charges on me when they put on
She was
restraining
scared to
order.
death of you, Danny.
Man, whatever.
I'm telling you, I read those messages. What about that time when she was sitting on the porch?
Okay, if she scared the mess of me, why didn't she tell the police that when he came to the house and did the report? She did not open her mouth.
She did. She reported everything
No,
that
she
happened.
didn't. No, she didn't.
I can read you the report.
I already know because the police told me. He said she did not open her mouth.
He may have been telling you that to protect her, but I'm telling you, she reported to the police what happened.
No.
And she talked about the
She
fight.
didn't report to the Navy did.
And no, I'm telling you, she did.
I
That day, listen,
I know everything. Cause
okay, well, that day that you acted like you were in the house and you sent her a message and you were actually watching her on the video surveillance, she called the police that day.
I know.
Well, you just told me that she didn't.
Yeah.
Okay, she called the police that day.
No, she didn't call the police. Her friend called
Okay,
the police.
she had her friend call the police. But
That's how I know everything.
okay. But I'm telling you, she spoke to the police. Danny, I'm going to tell you this right now.
She spoke to the police.
Yeah.
And-
I have
and-
not lied to you one time in
And
this
when the
room.
police got there, he said Miss Washington didn't open her mouth. She said if she did, we would have came to your mother's house that night and arrested you.
That's not true. Not only did she provide a statement there, but she also went to court and got an injunction against you. She
No.
provided a statement there.
The Navy told her to go to court and get an injunction.
Well, she still went there and got one.
Yes.
And she provided a statement
Yes.
against you.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
And like all the other times,
Yeah.
she said I did this and I did that. And the text message she sent me, she apologized for saying that.
Yeah. Well. Did she send you a message that day apologizing for what you say
No,
is
she
her?
sent it the night before.
She did?
Yep.
Cool.
And whatever she did, I let my mama and everybody else read.
Watch your arm there. It's weird that you're telling me that you were over at her house sometime after 9 o'clock, because when I pull your phone, I find messages from her sent to you saying that she's outside of your house.
In my house.
Yeah, it's right here. Right here at, and you're telling me just after 9 you're over at her house, but then over here at 9:15 it says, "Hey," and then you say, "What, Andrea? You know I can't text me all lies you told." I know, Danny. I'm sorry. I just wanted you out. I'm sorry. I told them you kicked me and stuff, but you wouldn't leave me. So I sorry. Right?
Mm-hmm.
And then you're sending her one back. Now I got to go to court. You guys go on and on and on. She's telling you to forgive her. She tells you that she's outside your door. Why would she tell you she's outside her door, your door, if you're sitting at her house?
That's a good question.
Yeah. It's bullshit. You're over at her house, you're on her phone sending yourself messages. So when you go to court the next day, you can show the judge.
That's bullshit.
Well, I'm staring at it. It's right here.
Okay, so where's her phone?
You tell me. You
Yeah.
took her phone.
Y'all the police. Y'all, this is y'all job.
It is my
did our
job.
Yeah, okay, y'all did your job.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, we did our job. That's why you're here.
Okay, you ain't found with her phone.
You took her phone, but I don't. The biggest thing is I have your phone, and I have your other phone that you lied to me about having.
What other phone?
And your phone I found on your bed.
Why did I lie?
You told me.
No, I didn't. I didn't lie about
What'd
it.
you tell me?
You asked me, would I have? No, you didn't. You asked me about my phone. I said yes, I have a phone. Then you went to. I gave you permission to go in my house. So how did I lie about it? If you got
Because when I
in
asked
my
you
house?
about your phone, you told me that you didn't know where it was anymore, and that it had no service on it. That's what you told me.
That's my old phone. That's my other phone.
Okay,
I had another phone that got lost.
but that one was still active on your bed, correct?
No,
Yeah.
it was on the Wi-Fi, so it's not active on the Wi-Fi.
Okay. Is there any reason why there was a bunch of surveillance pictures on that phone? Were you checking her surveillance on that phone?
I got the what's called to it.
You got the what?
My name is under my what's called under my email. Anytime they have a problem, who you think they call?
So you're telling me you had access to it?
Yes,
Okay. But you're not living there, is what I'm getting at, correct?
yes,
You've been out of the house for probably 2 weeks.
yes.
You've been living in this place on Vern Drive for probably 1 week. You were living at your mom's before that, and then you moved into this place. Oh, you
I've
weren't?
been at Vern Drive.
How long?
I've been at Vern Drive. Probably about 3 weeks. I just stayed at my mom's house. My
Right.
stuff been at Vern Drive.
So you've been over there for about 3 weeks. But why did you continue to check her surveillance?
It's under my thing. What's the difference? She come see me anyway. She at my house.
I know she did. I think she probably saw you that Thursday.
No, she came see me one week. She came the whole week. She right there by the base.
Yeah. But you still didn't answer my question.
What?
Why are you checking her video?
If it's on my phone, if it's under my what's called, I can actually do anything if it's under my email.
I get that. I'm not sweating you on that, saying that you didn't have a right to if you had access. If you had access, but I'm asking you what, because I'm telling you right now, when I dumped your phone, there was like
I'm checking on her.
you were just checking on her.
She said she's scared to stay in the house by herself.
But you knew she had her family there all day.
Yeah.
So
and,
why
and
would
she
you
and she texts me all day. She texts me when they left.
see how that looks? Though it looks like you're being kind of possessive. See how it looks to us, though.
Being possessive.
I'm just telling you how it looks.
When she told me she
Right.
scared to stay in the house by herself, that's when I would start checking her.
Now, can you explain? And I hate to keep harping on these messages, but can you explain why she would send you a text that she's at your house on the 16th at 9:30 when you in fact are in her house? I mean, it's right. I got it right here. Danny, I'm sorry, but it's what it is. I'm not happy with you anymore. That's why I lied, because you wouldn't leave. I'm sorry. Can you open the door? I'm outside your house. Are you going to tell me that you didn't send that?
No.
You're not going to tell me that, okay?
No, why would
Or you did send it
Why would I send something like that?
to help you in court.
That's something. That's something I'm not worried about. It's her phone.
Right. But why would she say I'm outside your...
If I had her phone, you can track her phone at my house. You'll know
Right.
where her phone is.
Yes, it wasn't at your house.
Okay, then.
And
So
never-
I don't have it.
Right, but that's my point. You were at her house.
Yeah, you were at her house getting the charger key.
Why would she send you a text message saying that she's at your house? That makes no sense. You're setting the stage here, Danny.
I'm not saying nothing. Like I said, we can deal with it in court however y'all want.
Okay. I thought we were going to have an open dialogue, you and I.
It is open dialogue.
No, you keep saying-
you asking me. You already convict me of this.
I haven't
don't-
convicted you.
How come you just said I'm on the arrest for
Yeah.
murder of injury?
Danny, I know, and I've already said this once, but I think you kind of interrupted me. I already know the who, the what, the when, the where. I just don't know the why.
Okay, and y'all ain't told me nothing. Y'all ain't told me how she died. Y'all ain't told me nothing.
You can tell me how she died because you were there.
Okay.
You killed her.
Whatever you say.
Okay.
Whatever you say. Y'all got all this evidence,
Yeah.
but y'all don't have. Y'all got a
We
phone.
got all this evidence, and like I
Y'all
said,
don't
it's
have
gonna
a
make you
phone.
look really
Yeah.
bad.
You don't have a phone.
Y'all
Y'all not telling me how she died. Y'all don't know how she died. I'm like, man, come on.
Yeah, you know she was shot.
Come on, man.
That's why I've asked you about a gun. You know that.
Okay.
And you also know that when we searched your house, we found the same type of bullets that we found at the scene.
Okay. And she has it. If y'all do y'all job, it's in a box.
Why would you
It's in a
tell me?
box.
Why would you tell me? Why would you tell me that you didn't own a gun when I find bullets in your house?
Okay, because
And then you have a witness that says, "Yeah, I saw
because
a gun
her
in there."
kids was there. She gave it to me when
No,
her
no,
kids
no,
was
no,
there.
no, no. Bullets in your house.
Yes, she gave me the pistol when her kids was there.
Okay, so
Okay, I got the pistol and the bullets. When the kids left, she got the gun back.
When did the kids leave?
Right. Because she wanted to come to Texas.
She took them to Texas while you were still at the house.
Yes.
Right. So there's no reason for you to have bullets unless you own a gun.
The issue that the interviewer is having stems from the fact that Danny is too stupid to realize the hole he has dug himself into. He doesn't understand that the police do not need her phone to access her records. They do not need the gun to tie him to the murder, and they do not need him to confess to convict him, despite them laying out the fact that they know Danny texted himself from Andrea's phone in order to make it appear that she was lying about the abuse, as well as to give him an alibi for her murder. He cannot process that information. He still believes that he can tell the police another story, and they will believe him, and they have to let him go.
And there's also you wouldn't have bullets to a gun that your close personal friend who's been sticking up for you this whole time said he saw a gun in your house.
Yes. And I
Yeah.
told him that. I said, yes, it's under. He knew who it was.
You say you told him that, but when I asked you in our original interview, you said, I don't own a gun. I haven't touched a gun since I was a teenager.
You asked me, have I owned a gun? I said, no.
I said, when's the last time you held a gun? And you know what you said?
No.
A teenager. And you know how I know that's not true?
Mm.
Because remember we tested you for GSR?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. You may have cleaned up, but you tested 2 out of 3 particles for GSR. You don't believe that? You think I'm lying? I'm lying that you tested for 2 out of 3 particles of GSR on your hands. I'm lying about
I
that.
don't know you got no gunpowder on my
Okay.
hands. So.
Wow.
I'll tell you how. You shot that woman. And now you're going to sit in this room and you're going to cross your arms and you're not even going to be a man and you're not even going to look at me and let me at least be able to go back to her family and tell them what happened to her. That's what you're going to do.
Well, her family telling me she got somebody slit her throat.
No. Her family knows you killed her and they're probably just telling you that to keep you at arm's length. But I've talked to her family. I've talked to her family at least once a week, if not more.
Yeah,
So I know what they
I
think.
talked to her son.
I know what they think. Okay? I'm telling you that right now. I know what they think.
Okay.
Her twin brother Avery, he's got my phone number on his phone. Not my city phone. Not the phone number you had. Not my desk phone number, but my personal cell.
Okay.
Okay? So I'm telling you right now, they think you're a cold-blooded killer.
Well, everybody think that.
Yeah.
Yeah, the jury's going to think that too.
Okay. Well,
That's gonna be your ass
Take it
after
in
that.
front of the jury.
You killed her, Danny, and then you're going to sit there and act like you don't give 2 shits.
I'm not saying I don't give 2 shits because I know I didn't
How many
do
times
it.
you call me
For what?
to check on this case?
None. Because
Why?
I got somebody that's telling me do not say nothing.
Well,
That's
I'm
why-
telling you right
that's
now,
why-
that's not normal behavior.
That's why I have.
If somebody killed my fiance or my wife or my girlfriend
why you think
or
I'm
my
talking,
sister,
Why you think I'm talking to her son?
I don't know. I also know you try to pin her son on some bullshit phone calls and harassing phone calls. You try to put that on him.
How I'm trying to put that on him.
You told her he was the one that was sending her harassing phone calls.
Okay, and someone from Growing was.
I talked to the PI, and you know who he thinks was doing it?
I already know. Talking about Mr. Brown.
I sat and interviewed Mr. Brown for some time. He showed me a bunch of paperwork, a bunch of stuff he did, and he told me straight up, you were the one doing it.
Okay, so if I wasn't doing it, why did you press charges on me then? Why she go down there and
I
drop
don't
it?
know. I wish they would have pressed charges on you the first time you beat her up, because then she'd still be alive.
Yeah, that's why they press charges on me then, because they know I ain't do nothing. That's why. If they thought I did something that night, they would came to my mama's house and got me. Just like the police said.
Yeah, it's a process.
It's
Yeah.
like this is a process.
And even though they went and got a warrant for you, they were still gathering evidence on that case.
And they didn't get a warrant from me.
What's that?
They didn't get a warrant from me.
They did or didn't?
They didn't.
Yeah, it's because they were still trying to get evidence that we have in this book. Receipts from the handyman from where you kicked in the door, pictures of the door where you kicked in the doors, the actual doors themselves, picture of the tablet you busted up, the report that she wrote, that she submitted electronically, saying what happened. All that is what they were waiting on, and it came too late.
I don't know what to tell you because I didn't do this.
Okay. I'm going to go outside and I'm going to finish this arrest report. If you need something, just knock on the door. Okay. All right.
Following the interview, Danny was processed and jailed for Andrea's murder. While waiting for his trial, Danny has written nearly 20 letters to 3 separate judges who have been a part of this case, despite being told by them they are not allowed to speak privately. The letters are barely legible, but Danny continues to state that he is innocent and claims that he is being treated unfairly, as if he didn't do anything wrong, and all the evidence against him is, in his words, planted. Hopefully, we can see this case resolved soon. If you have made it to this portion of the video, thank you for watching. If there is a case you would like to see explored, or a video you would like to see go on this channel, let me know by leaving a comment down below or emailing me at dreading.official@gmail.com. I appreciate all the kindness and support as of late, and I will see you in the next video.